How are you?
I'm good.
Good. We just got done with HBSC class.
What class?
HBSC. I feel like you took it. Human behavior.
Social environment?
Human behavior in the social environment.
Yeah.
That's it. So I was just putting up the assignment for seeing what date you guys wanted to lead a group. Oh, shoot. If there's one that made you more excited than others. Why won't this work? Let's just do D2L blank. No? What about? So that's just like the girl circle stuff and
Okay.
no stress, but once we get them started, that's like the middle major assignment here. So you get it out the way, then all you kind of really have is the final one. You can combine those two. They can be the same thing, actually. So one, you're just like leading the group and present it, and then the final paper is where you write about a group proposal and maybe write a grant with it or a suggestion of a grant to get money for it. So let's see here. So you are this class, aren't you? Groups, not HBSC. And so I put it in under assignments. You can go as early as September, but anytime through October, which I hesitate to say as I know then everybody like signs up for the very last day possible. Like JL, here it is. How much you want to bet? He said October.
He said the beginning of the month.
What'd he say?
The beginning of the month.
Oh, he did? Are you guys? Oh, because it's a discussion. I was like, are you able to see it? That's funny. Oh, huh. Interesting. Huh. That's interesting. Oh, so I'm not in the discussion. That's the problem. He said the beginning of the month, so just like generic. So that means right now. Oh, he's texting you. You're saying I didn't know. If he
Oh
said
no, I was just guessing too.
Okay. So no, it looks like he like kind of made a PowerPoint for when he leads his group, but I was trying to see if somebody already responded to that. Nobody's responded yet, so that's fine. I just put it up while we were in our faculty meeting. I just wanted to get us into week. Gosh, are we already week 5? That's insanity. How are your other classes going?
They're good. They're not that bad.
I always ask you guys that, but I want to get a. Is it different with COVID? Like, is it just like we get through, but it feels like we barely
Just
get?
pushing through.
Yeah. Which I'm glad that we have the option to be able to do that, but sometimes it's like,
Annoying.
yeah, like what
We're not
happened?
learning anything.
What happened to us? How do we get all messed up? Like, I don't know. Are any of yours in person?
Yeah, all but one.
Oh, really? Okay, so that's good, right?
Mhm.
That they actually did something in person. I'm impressed. So, what all classes do you have right now?
Journalist 2, juvenile delinquency. Journalist 1. Journalist 1, 2, juvenile delinquency, principles of learning, and human and social environment 2.
Oh, who teaches that this semester?
I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. So you have mostly social work classes.
I feel like there's none to pick from the social work classes. It's like mostly sociology, psychology.
Oh, because social work is usually not in person. That's probably, or not online. That's what I should say. Like, I do a hybrid because we could all catch COVID and die, but it's well, I'm going to go into Dropbox and find week 5 because I'm not finding it today. So which one is the online? Hello.
Okay.
Which class is actually online?
Juvenile delinquency.
Oh, is that a social work class?
So sociology.
Okay, so those are able to be online. That makes sense.
And then my principles of learning is online too. So too.
Oh, is that sociology also?
Psychology.
Aha. Groups. I am going to find. I'm just going to search group. Yeah, it's almost like we all came apart at the seams a year and a half ago. Like everybody just like fell apart. But we're holding it together so you all can graduate next year, right? Is it next year that you graduate? Both of you?
23.
Yeah. Next year's your senior year.
When was the group assignment though?
To lead a group, I just put the discussion out there. Like you can lead it as early as this month, but I was saying I hesitate to say it. We can do it in October too, but I know everybody will sign up for the last day possible if I say that. So it would be exciting to have y'all like jumping up here in the next few weeks, but I get it if you're not feeling it yet.
So the whole class just have to be here for the group?
Well, ideally, so we've done it several ways because of COVID. We've had people like just film and lead online with their dormitory or classmates, or you just expect there's 3 of us here and you run the group. Like there might be more, but you just run it. You just go ahead and try to run it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like we fake it until we make it. And I think it would be easier in person, but maybe some people are like, it's going to be easier online. What would you guys rather do?
I don't know.
It's okay. Because in person, you can actually interact and engage, and you'll get a real feel for what like a group is like. So what all places have you guys worked at before that you said you've had to like run groups or adolescents or volunteer somewhere or do anything?
I never really did.
Okay. Well then, all the more better you get a chance to practice. Because it is, I will say, just from my own experience, I'm not big on getting up in front of people. I don't know why I became a teacher out of the blue, but like I'm not big on sitting in front of people and talking and running stuff. Like I don't like it, but the more you practice, the easier it becomes. And then it kind of, like ultimately it does help for like leadership positions. Because I was also used to being like more of a follower in social work. Oh, there it is. Look at that. Hey, it just like popped up exactly what I needed. How in the heck did that happen? I'm confused. Boom. All right. Hey, I thought I was going to be searching through 1,000 files because the babies keep us up so late, and then you get so little sleep, and then you try to come up and you're like, all right, coffee. So, or did we do this one last week? No. So there's a few of these and a few that are pretty good. Have you ever, well, it's in the book. So in groups, traditionally, when it is being taught, this dude goes with there's forming, norming, storming, and there's some actually good videos about that. So if I can do one without this YouTube video cutting out the screen, I will do it. Oh, look, it even tells you how long. The first one, we only got 1:15, then 2:25, and then 3. And what's these last two? 1:20 and 40 from when we made this. And I'll have my own commentary too. But let's see if it will play.
Are these uploaded online?
No, but I
Welcome
could
to our
send
first
them.
lecture.
I could send them to you. Like
As
I
we
could,
look over the objectives for the week, I want to remind you to review the chapters for the week prior to viewing the lecture, as it is intended to supplement your reading. By the end of the week, you should be able to identify the factors necessary for forming a group and describe the tasks of a beginning group. As your book points out, there are many ways to categorize and describe the stages that functional groups go through, And despite the differences in labels, most agree that groups go through between 4 and 5 stages in the life of a group. Back in the 1970s, 2 researchers named Tuckman and Jensen identified 5 stages of group development: forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjoining. This still stands as a very common way for discussing group development. You may refer to the table in your book on page 84 if you want to see a comparison of a few different ways that authors have conceptualized the stages and transitions of group development.
Were you guys able to get your book?
Forming a group is a process that takes several steps. And although some of the steps may be completed at the same time, none.
That's why I also run it like I've kind of always done this. This is stuff that you can look up online, and I'll send these PowerPoints. In fact, I'm wondering if I can send it to you right now. Week 5 forming audio. So that like, are they successful in any of your class getting you guys books? Weren't they promising free books?
Yeah, some people got free books though.
So then what?
But it depends on the class. All classes, you're not getting a free book.
Really?
Yeah.
So could you get a free digital book? Maybe that's the catch. So you're saying the digital one is one of those, but
Yeah, I just got to figure out how to log in.
okay. So I'll send this to you. Week 5 forming audio. There you go. Oh, look, there's all of them. Week 2, week 4, week 5. Is it just opening again? Come on. I thought it was attaching to this. So, week 5, forming audio. And then that's hilarious. Why does it keep on doing that? Well, I will send it to you when I get home. It doesn't want to be as easy as I thought it was. So, unless if this does it. Open. Okay, there it is. I bet you it's too big too. They'll be like, sorry, you can only send 50 megabytes. Not that many. All right, let's hit publish. Tell me if it comes through. Week 5. How are we already done with that much of the semester?
No, really.
Isn't it flying, or are you guys thinking it's going slow?
It's kind of.
Whew. So supposedly that's sent out to you, but if it did not, let me know, and I will try it again. All right, so back to forming, storming, norming, and so those are your traditional group things that you would hear when you're forming a group. You guys ever seen the movie Remember the Titans?
Mhm.
Okay. I think it's this guy. This was like the best, it was a video too. There it is. Boom. All right, so this helped me understand a little bit better. If the audio works. High school from 71 formed an all-black school integrated with an all-white school. The team overcomes adversity and wins a championship, if you haven't seen it before. And it is kind of good demonstration of how you're forming your group and the group process. Forming is first, and that's what we're going over in this PowerPoint.
Check them in. Check them in. I'm Coach Hines, your offensive line coach. Fill out your name and position starting from the right.
D. Jones, running back. D. running back.
Jared Harris, quarterback. And who were the offensive lineman. Neighbor family just moved here from Bayonne. Someone said football, so I come running. What's going on, everybody?
So at the beginning of the group, it can always be like kind of tension, awkward, just because everybody's brand new. You know what I mean? It's almost like the first day of school, and it's just like, oh crap. So that's kind of the first piece that they're kind of showing here.
Kim call the shots? You none of us can see nothing but the fences. You call the shots, no play.
So in storming, the members struggle to set group goals, establish leadership, and set patterns of behavior. So sometimes there's like fights and like disagreements. That's the storming
I
part.
give a hoot about you, huh? Or anybody else out there. We're talking about the ways you captain, right?
Right,
Captain's supposed to be the leader, right?
right.
You got a job?
I have a
You been
job.
doing your job?
I've been doing my job.
Then why don't you tell your white buddies to block for red better? Because they have not blocked him from a blood nickel, and you know. Nobody plays, yourself included. I'm supposed to wear myself out for the team? What team? No. No, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look out for myself and I'm gonna get mine.
See, man, that's the worst attitude I ever heard.
Attitude reflect leadership.
So after a little bit, usually groups are 10 to 12 weeks long. So maybe this is the third or fourth week. You could settle into norming. And this is members develop a sense of cohesion and settle into their roles. And they exhibit it now.
We are changing. We're gonna change the way we run. We're gonna change the way we eat. We're gonna change the way we walk. We're gonna change the way we act. We're gonna change the way we win.
Closer towards the end, you'll get into performing. So this is where the work gets done in your group. When you're leading the group, it might be like week 5, week 6, week 7, and then that's where some of your tasks are accomplished, ideally. And adjourning is usually towards the end, obviously, because the group is now like dissolving and disbanding.
Hey, 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 goodbye. Na 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 na, na 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 na. Hey, hey.
So there's several of these online, if you wanted to refer to it again. But oftentimes, with doing the groups, folks find something that, when you're selecting the right people to be in the group and things of that nature, that helps, especially in the forming part. So we'll get back to the part we're starting back over. So here we're on forming again.
Forming a group is a process that takes several steps. And although some of the steps may be completed at the same time, none may be skipped if the group is going to form properly and thrive. First, every group relies on a clear and thoughtful rationale for existence. Groups that attempt to form without a strong rationale are likely to be unproductive and potentially harmful for their members. Leaders must also decide on the theoretical framework from which to work, and the theoretical format should be appropriate for the purposes of the group. The successful formation of a group also relies on practical planning, like the meeting time and place, and leaders should consider potential obstacles in planning this group. Considering how the members get to the meeting, if the group's intended for a certain population, say school-age children or elderly people, transportation may be a specific issue to address. Publicized group is another consideration that is addressed during the forming stage, and it's important to keep in mind that how a group is announced influences both the ways that it will be received by potential members and also the kind of people who will join. Take some time to consider whether word of mouth, personal contact, and/or written announcements will best suit your intended audience, and that will contribute to the intentionality of your group formation. Screening and pre-training are processes that involve meeting potential members either individually or in a group format to determine who should join a group and who should not, by identifying needs, expectations, and commitment, challenging myths and conceptions, and conveying information to those potential members. This is an opportunity not only for group leaders to select members, but also for potential members to make sure that the group is something they're truly interested in. Once members have been selected, pre-training serve as almost an orientation session to help members get acclimated. The selecting of group members and group leaders can be seen as an outcome of the screening and pre-training.
So I want to stop it there. When I was at Lighthouse, we led groups. One of them was a trauma group for kids that had experienced a trauma in their life, like one of the adverse childhood experiences or ACEs. And the piece on like developing the rationale, we went ahead with a trauma-informed care we found online, but screening, pre-training, and selecting the group members. So the important piece for us was that like the person wanted to be there. Because a lot of times you would have counselors that would give you a 10-year-old, like, here, this guy wants you at the group. And we ran into a couple situations where the group member didn't want to be there, which was fine. We just had to acknowledge that and tell them to come back when they were ready. And they kind of showed, especially a kid that was traumatized, they showed they didn't want to be there by kind of just sabotaging or like trashing the place. So that was a big part about like selecting the right group members and like having them the right training for it, and then making sure that we could run it. And the kid did come back to a group later on, and that was helpful. So that was part of the forming. So in the next few weeks, we'll go over those: forming, storming, norming, and adjourning. So like the 4 stages of a group that you guys will get to do when you lead your group, either, you know, the last week or 2 of this month, or you could also do it in October also. Just put up in the discussion. Any questions so far?
So we,
Once we have,
What's that?
so we do the groups when we go over them like each week.
We could lead a group. So as soon as, did you get the Girl Circle manual that I put up in there? So, and you pick a week from there, and then you could lead it. You can lead it next week if you want, or if you want more time to prepare, we can do it the week after that. What is that? The 23rd, the 30th, or October 6th, October 13th, whichever date you pick.
What exactly do we do when, what do we do, but like to prepare, what should we do?
So I would just basically, you go into the Girl Circle manual and it tells you from start to finish what that like 15 to 23 minute group would be. It actually probably preps you for a half an hour group to an hour group, but I'm okay if you guys move through it. And then just like lead us. So you'll come in and lead us in the group, and then we call it a day. If you were at Lighthouse, you would bill for, if it was 23 minutes, they would pay you for a half an hour. That's how Medicaid works. And then, yeah, you kind of go through whichever week you would pick. Does that answer the question?
And we do like a
What's that?
PowerPoint.
Oh, excuse me. I just realized I forgot my allergy pills, so I'll be right back.
Once we have a group, there are a number of tasks that must be accomplished during the first session, including dealing with apprehension, reviewing goals and contracts, specifying rules, setting limits, promoting positive interchange among members, and resolving potential group problems. A certain level of anxiety is considered a natural part of beginning groups, and group leaders can address anxiety directly in the group or work to clarify any issues that seem to arise as a result of member anxiety. Reviewing goals and contracts within the group is an opportunity to restate the purpose of the group during the first session and allow members to share more about their own personal goals. Although some groups may begin with an established set of group rules, the first session is a great time to review these rules and also allow members to make contributions to the rules. Stating rules in positive terms rather than negative terms will help set the tone of the group. For instance, rather than having a rule against violence, the group could state that members will respect the physical and psychological safety of others at all times. Limits help us understand boundaries in the group, and limits can be addressed during the initial session, but must also be addressed when members test them in the group setting, either by breaking rules or norms. Group leaders can promote positive interactions among group members by being enthusiastic, by drawing out members, holding focus on interesting topics, or shifting the focus when topics are irrelevant or interesting to only a few members, by cutting off any hostile or negative interactions as well. There are a number of problems that can occur during the formation of a group and afterward, some of which involve people, and some of which involve process. Subgroups are one such example of a problem that can come up in group process where cliques of members band together and may become troublesome. Leaders must remain tuned in to interaction patterns and promote interchange among members, potentially by providing more direction for interaction through exercises or through activities. Your textbook authors also address this with group member behavior, and the caution that I want to echo as you consider difficult member roles during the first session is that the tendency to label members based on their behavior can be incredibly distracting and disrupt the success of a group. Rather than labeling members based on potentially difficult behavior, it can be helpful instead to see that behavior as a symptom of an issue that's developed in the group and approach it with an open mind.
I'm trying to still find a way to turn off those things at the bottom. Do you guys know how to turn off the things at the bottom? Because they suck.
It's only saying
Never
what you
mind.
said.
It's on what?
It only says stuff that you said.
Oh, yeah, I know, because the mic is probably in here. So if it's trying to hear her like over there, it's not, anyway.
For instance, silent members may be feeling hostile or attempting to withdraw from the group, but they may also be shy, reflective, or simply slow to assert themselves. Instead of seeing a silent member as difficult, it can be helpful to ask a simple open-ended question like, what do you think about what the other members have been saying? Pages 102 to 104 provide strategies for the beginning stage of a group, and I would encourage you to review these pages carefully as they're quite helpful.
So basically with, the tasks at the beginning of the group, as you saw in that Remember the Titans set of clips, it can be awkward when you first start out. Like there might be folks that don't want to be there. It might be, there's subtitle headings. It has a bottom, top, below, above, and then more settings. You just do off. The option would be off. Maybe I should just do it in like Chinese. That way none of us will understand what it is. And
Over the course of the next 3 weeks, I'll ask you to view clips to illustrate the issues we're discussing. To access the videos, you may need to sign in using your UC ID and password. You should then be connected directly to the videos. If you have any trouble accessing the video once you've successfully logged in, try using the link again or searching for the video title. This one is titled Leading in the Here and Now, the Initial Stage. In our first viewing, we'll see a new group coming together and forming. In the coming weeks, I'll ask you to view 2 more videos as we watch the same group grow and develop. This first video lasts about an hour, so I encourage you to either carve out time to view this in one sitting or split the video into smaller segments and watch it over the course of a couple viewings. As you watch this week, try to look for the tasks that exist in the beginning group. As members and leaders deal with apprehension, review goals and rules, begin to set limits, promote positive interchange among members, and resolve potential group problems. Looking at the link, you may notice that this video is not captured recently. However, the group leader you're about to watch is a highly respected member of the group work profession and has developed some excellent teaching tools, including these videos. Enjoy. In summary, forming is characterized by initial caution associated with any new experience, attempting to avoid being rejected by others. During this first stage of group development, group members try to be superficial, center conversation around historical or future events that do not have a direct impact on the group. Tasks during this beginning stage include dealing with apprehension, reviewing member goals and contracts, specifying rules, setting limits, and promoting positive interchange. This serves to conclude our lecture on forming, and I will see you next week.
Keeping it real simple there. So again, as you lead groups, I was saying how I never in my life really expected to become a teacher or lead groups or any of the above, which you guys might not either. Like, you just kind of see what you naturally enjoy. I don't know who's translating for me, but you can read me in Chinese if you need to. Because it gets it so wrong. I'd rather have it look like hieroglyphics than like, when the lady's talking, it's like all over the place. But the more that you practice it, the better you'll become. The better you'll be able to be like leaders in your agency, to be leaders in whatever you wanted to do. I'm guessing if you guys have made it this far, you're probably going to go through with the whole being a social worker thing. I could be wrong. I mean, there are some that decide to, be the business manager of a social work practice, and that's okay too. But just getting some of the ideas out there. Oh, is it still showing that? That's weird. It's almost like I need to close PowerPoint, so I'm going to close it real fast. Close all windows. Did that work? Okay. So in terms of, that's the one that I was looking for. So we'll get this if you are okay to see forming, storming, norming, and translated by Remember the Titans. And this one. So this one was the little bit longer clip that I had for you guys. So these are all the stages of the group.
All right, listen up. I'm Coach Boone. I'm going to tell you all about how much fun you're going to have this season. We leave for camp, Gettysburg College, August 15th, 7:29 a.m. If you report at 7:30, you will not be playing football this season. You will be watching. You will wear a jacket, shirt, and tie. If you don't have one, buy one. Can't afford one, and borrow one from your old man. If you don't have an old man, then find a trunk, trade him for his. I can guarantee you, there's a bum on the street that looks as raggedy and ridiculous as what I'm looking at right now. This is no democracy. It is a dictatorship. I am the law. If you survive camp, you will be on the team. If you survive.
Him calling the shots? And none of us can see nothing but the things this year. He ain't calling the shots, you'll play.
All right, listen up. I want everybody off the bus. Let's go. Follow me, everybody. Let's go right now. All right.
Everybody off the bus. Listen up, I don't care if you're black, green, blue, white, or orange. I want all of my defensive players on this side, all players going out for offense over here, right now. Let's move, let's move, let's move, let's move. You and you, offensive bus, sit together. You and you, defensive bus, sit together. Get comfortable too. Because the person that I have to sit next to is the same one that you'll be rooming with for the duration of this camp.
So now we're going on to the storming stage.
All right, man, listen. I'm Gary. You're Julius. Let's get some particulars and just get this over with, all right?
Let's take a listen.
Yeah.
No matter what I tell you, you ain't gonna never know nothing about
Hey,
it.
man, listen. I ain't running any more of these 3 days, okay?
Well, what I got to say, you really don't want to hear, because honesty ain't too high on your people's priority list, right?
Honesty? You want honesty? All right, honestly, I think you're nothing. Nothing but a pure waste of God-given talent. You don't listen to nobody, man. Not even Dr. Boone. Keep her push on the line every time, man. You blow right past him. Push him, pull him, do something. You can't run over everybody in this league. And every time you do, you leave one of your teammates hanging out to dry. Me in particular.
Why should I give a hoot about you? Huh? Or anybody else out there? You want to talk about waste, you captain, right?
Right,
Captain's supposed to be the leader, right?
right.
You got a job?
I have a
You been
job.
doing your job?
I've been doing my job.
Then why don't you tell your white buddies to block for red better? Because they have not blocked for him or for plug nickel, and you know it.
So that's the storming stage where often there's conflict within the group. 10 or 12 weeks, it's easy to get conflict in the middle, and then you move on after that to the norming stage.
All right. We'll be out here all night till we get this thing right. Let's go. On the ball, Rev.
What was that, Ray? Whatever it is, it ain't blocking.
Give me a break.
You know what I'm talking to? A break? Julius, what? Hit the red once, just one time. I swear to God, I'm gonna hit you so hard by the time you come to, oh boy, you're gonna need a new haircut. You understand me? Let's play, fellas. The ball is coming again.
So conflict can be good because in that they're voicing an unmet need, and like that's how their unmet need is being addressed. And it looks like it did actually get through to him.
You all right, Big Petey? You all right? You just stuck him, Campbell. Yeah, I love me a little contact, Petey. Left side. Wrong side. Left side. Left side. Left side. Left side.
So now they go on to performing.
I swear to God, I ought to.
I didn't hear it.
Swear to God. Got 1 minute.
Running back.
Best on that team. Not a quarterback.
She made that pitch, don't she? When I was 15 years old, I lost my mother and my father in the same month, man, the same month. 12 brothers and sisters, I was the youngest one, but they were all looking up to me. Now, I wasn't ready yet either, but they needed me. Your team needs you tonight. You're the colonel, you're gonna command your troops tonight, you understand? Twins right, 48, 0 green. Let's go.
What's the matter? I'm sure seeing football here. Let's go. Show some like I got it. It's gonna be all right.
Let's you ease this time. Go ahead. Let him through, all right?
What?
Just let him through. Trust me.
Shouldn't it go? That's a bad white man.
Make sure and remember forever connected to the tables. Fake 23 blast with a backside George reverse. You got that? Fake 23 blast with a backside George reverse like you like it. Come on, let's go. Let's go. One final play. Focus to Jay. Guess not. Why are they bringing a QB? Tower deep. Tower deep. Tower deep. Tower deep. That's it, boys. That's it. Good season.
So now we're going to the final stage of the group where you're kind of adjourning and like closing it out for everybody.
Gary is gone, but his spirit lives on. People say that it can't work black and white. Well, here we make it work every day. We have our disagreements, of course. But before we reach for hate, always, always, we remember the Titans.
Hey, 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 goodbye.
So with the different stages of a group, it can sometimes take a while to get to the norming and adjourning part.
Okay, so I've been seeing a lot.
Sometimes takes, most groups are 10 to 12 weeks, but there's always that kind of awkwardness and the storming at the beginning, just as you get to know each other, as you get to know, as the social worker, the group that you're leading, the folks that you're leading. And it might take a few dry runs to get through because it's like, at first, often we're given materials, just like you guys are given Girl Circle. And again, you can look up any group you want online to run your own group. I do like Girl Circle because it goes start to finish. It would give you a half an hour of material, but it's new to you at first. So like learning it and learning how to run it and then running it smoothly kind of can be difficult. So did that PowerPoint ever go through to you that I sent? Oh, it did. I don't know why the computer seems weird today, but it does. And I did put in a space for you to sign up to lead them. I'll say you can go as early as next week if you'd like to get it done first. And I'll hesitate to say running it in October. We've set it up so that if like there was COVID, you can just film yourself leading it online. I would advocate practicing in person because like you really do want to be a social worker and lead things in person. That's where you're going to get it, just like leading. And you can combine this with your final paper. The group that you lead can actually be your group proposal, which is that larger 8-page paper. So if you're writing up a group proposal and use Girl Circle, you obviously cite it. And if you're going to include a grant in it from grants.gov, say you want to ask for $100,000 for an internship, you go to grants.gov and then kind of see where there's any mental health stuff, mental health groups, which there's still a lot of funding, especially for like opioid ones. So here's one, demonstrating policy effectiveness and to promote Black youth mental health, implementing sustaining evidence-based mental health practice for low resource settings, innovative mental health, You could start an infant and early childhood mental health grant program. So these are, you start out asking for, it's a lot of money. So it's $1,200,000. So you see why people do take a long amount of time to run a program like that. But that would fund probably 30 social work positions, either 20 or 30 social work positions to pay and have a whole agency running that. But people are writing grants all the time. Some folks get paid to just write a grant. And I wonder if it looks like it's past the deadline because you can't apply. But you would click apply and then kind of see the materials and package. So that's an addition to the last half. But connecting the group that you lead, you can also add that into what your final paper is just to make it real. So you have something that is like a combined task at the end. Any questions on these? Because we're a third of the way through the semester. Somehow, some way. Anybody catch COVID yet? No? I hear that natural immunity's the strongest. I know. My wife says she got it in December. So.
They making everybody get vaccinated.
Unless if you give either the medical exemption or the religious exemption form. I mean, if you have